Good evening, folks. It is Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, and the last time is now for John Cena. We have so much to talk about tonight, and it's all going to center around what has been probably the biggest story of this year. We started talking about it back in January. We have talked about it consistently all throughout the year. John Cena's retirement in Washington, D.C. last weekend. We're going to get into all of it tonight. We're going to get into it from those of us that watched it. We're going to get into it from those of us that were in the building live and have the live perspective. We're going to talk about if WWE made the right move with the finish of the match and so much more, folks. The last time is now for John Cena. Buckle in. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast starts right now.
Big Gold Belt. Big Gold Belt. Big Gold Belt. Big Gold Belt. All I really want is that Big Gold Belt. Big Gold Belt. Big Gold Belt. Big Gold Belt. All I really need is that Big Gold Belt.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. Tonight, Season 5, Episode 46, as we are almost at the end of the year, and we have a packed episode to get into tonight. First, let me go around the room here and introduce everyone. I am Will at the top right of your screen. Beneath me is Damian G down in the Lone Star State. Across from him is the giant crab Jamal, and across from me at the top in the upper left is the boss man himself, our editor-in-chief, Najir Chambers, 2 Chains, who happened to be in the building this past Saturday for John Cena's retirement, so he will have a lot to say tonight. But that's the theme of tonight's show, folks. John Cena's End of the Road, the Last Time Is Now tour comes to an end in Washington, D.C. And I was thinking about it, going into this, like, we've been talking about this for, I think, over a year now. I know it's been a main theme on the show for the past year. It's like, how they were doing this. The heel turn that wasn't a heel turn, the pivoting they had to do and everything. And now we're finally here. Washington, D.C. last Saturday. It happens on Saturday night's main event on Peacock. Not a full-fledged pay-per-view, but definitely a big event. Definitely a big show feel. Heck, it ended up being the most successful WWE arena event in history. And apparently also the...
Yes. I was going to say...
And apparently also... And get this. Apparently also the most successful show in Capital One Arena history. Oh. Also. So they raked in some money in DC on Saturday night, which was no surprise with those ticket prices and the merch setup they had and the whole weekend in general. But yeah, big show, big event. Do you want to talk about kind of the show first and get to the?
I just got one
live
question.
Stuff to get into this. Okay,
just one question I want to know. Is this a question for you all? So obviously, a lot of people didn't have the ducats to be in the arena, but apparently a lot of people still did get into arena because they were either given an opportunity to get in there, they got free tickets, or I heard a few people say they got upgrades. I don't know how any of that works. So I am curious because I wasn't trying to pocket watch and I wasn't trying to get into anybody's logistics or anybody's swindling or whatever it may have done or happened. But I'm curious for you all. Have y'all heard any stories about that, whether it was about this event and or what sort of the business behind that? How does one go from no tickets to inside? How does one have tickets? And matter of fact, the 3 guys that had told me they had got upgraded, I think they had picked theirs up from Will Call, and it was like, hey, now you got new seats, which I can understand. Into that. And obviously anybody's been on a flight has obviously had opportunities like that as well too, because that just kind of comes random or whatever. But I'm just curious about how those people. Like, do you go up to the box office and say, which I got? And they're like, like, I'm confused.
I've definitely done that before, not for a show this high profile. And I don't know anyone who got in that way on this show, but I definitely before have gone just up to the box office, gotten whatever to get in the building. And then once you get in the building, things can change very quickly because they might want people in certain parts of the building. But it's not like this was a show where they had, like, I think, huge empty space to fill. But I've definitely been in the scenario where they get in there, they sit you in your section, and all of a sudden security kind of comes around. They're like, come on down, fill in wherever. We don't care. We're just looking to fill in this section. And then it's like a free-for-all at that point. But this show, I can't imagine it being that because they did not seem to have a problem with moving tickets to John Cena's retirement party.
Yeah, I don't want to hijack the direction of the show, but I will say, like, I had got a lot of story on that, and also did see a lot of people who were sometimey fans, or people who have kids who kids
Mhm.
wanted to go. So I was way more surprised about the casuals attendance than I was expecting. I was totally, and I mean, we talked about it so much last week. I was totally expecting it to be a march down from Capitol Hill and that have a print in there, but it didn't come off like that at all. It felt very much regular with families, with all different types of people in different backgrounds, people who
Mhm.
travel. I was in the elevator with a few folks that said they flew in from England at one point, and they didn't even know each other. They was like, "You came from England too?" So like, it felt very much standard in terms of what we typically expect for any of these type of shows. So, but that's just my quick little thoughts. Let's get into how you had the show kind of flown, or what's out going to be our
So should we
first.
start at the beginning? It's only a 4-match show. We can,
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Let's do the whole
Well,
thing.
You
well,
want to
heck,
talk about the
we're
card?
talking
You talking about the card
the
or the day? Card or the
Well,
day?
I'm talking. Let's start with the show. Let's start with the card,
Okay.
and then whatever insight you have of being there in person,
Yeah.
obviously pepper it
I
in
mean-
as we're going here.
Well, I think before if you do that before you get to the card, you talk about the superstore, you talk about the fan event that they had beforehand and stuff like that. Very much in contrary to Marcellus thinking they were going to set up baby WrestleMania in DC. Boy, that boy's delusional. They did what I thought they were going to do. They blocked off the block right in front of the Capital One Arena. They had a stage there. They had some vendors. They had some free stuff. They had little photo ops and all that. They had the countdown TVs all over the place. So it was a free place for people to kind of get in there, interact, be a part of the show without actually having attendance. I thought it was a good job. The weather held up. It wasn't too cold. And it definitely was a good mix of everybody, from families to, the hardcore people that we typically see, and so on. So that was good. Could they have extended it more? No, they had the Christmas block right across the street there, and then the other was the main street, so they couldn't block that off as well too. And then behind it was the trucks. So those are typically somewhat ish blocked off, but they still got enough traffic in there. But Superstore was still typically what it was. It ran for 2 days. It had all the stuff. But why wait in that line when you can hit merch inside the fan event or inside Capital One Arena, inside Gallery Place? So you had options to get merch. They did not make the merch hard to get. And that's why I made as much money as it did.
They were looking to sell that Cena stuff for sure. Right,
Yeah.
quick. Cupcake is back tonight. Good to see you, Cupcake, as always, here on a fine Thursday night as we break down John Cena's retirement show here on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. Cupcake checking in from YouTube. So if you're watching on YouTube or Twitch tonight or X, chime in on the John Cena show, because that is the theme of our show tonight here on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast.
Yeah.
All right, so that was the whole the kind of community, the whole area with the block closed off and all that.
Block party, pep rally, tailgate, how you want to call it. It was that, and in fact, it probably was the tailgate because you were allowed to. They were serving liquor in there, in that area as well too. And they wasn't. I mean, they had security, but it wasn't tight, and you had to have tickets, but it wasn't press. So you could easily have walked in if you wanted to. So yeah, it was cool. They did their typical WWE production stuff, getting B-roll, getting fan hype sizzle video, which I was on, which was the funniest thing
when
ever.
that show came on. I saw people saying, "Oh, look who's right there with a belt on the front of the broadcast." Familiar.
It was
faces.
Brian. It was Brian Waters' fault with him and his kids, man. And Brian was like, "Oh, we're moving this way," and I was like, "What are we doing?" It was like, camera. I was like, "Oh, okay." And I wasn't trying to look like the Grinch and not put on for it. So yeah, that was cool. And then they had the music and they had the DJ Heat and Britt Waters, who runs everything at Capital One. And they got fans up there. They had somebody that did a painting up there. And then after that, they ran their pre-show for about like 30, 40 minutes or something like that, what you saw on the stream. So honestly, it did not at that point feel any different than what you would have experienced at any other show that you went to. And I think this is important to emphasize that, because there's probably a measure of FOMO. I mean, outside of the finish that made a sour taste in some people's mouth, but they didn't really heighten this moment for anything that felt bigger than anything that you would not have attended to in any other wrestling show or any other event that might have been in DC. And I only bring all of this up, not for show to waste showtime, because I know we're going to talk about who should be next. And I absolutely think if we talk about who should be next, how do you elevate things beyond what they've done for Cena? Or is there anybody worthy of beyond what they have done for Cena in that case? So, but yeah, let's get into the card.
Let's save that for the end of the show. Yeah, there you go, right there. All right, well, let's get held. Since you were talking about the crowd, if there was anyone I thought this crowd was going to embrace, who had a chance to make and have a special moment for, it was right in the opener. We opened the show with Cody Rhodes and Obafemi, NXT champion versus undisputed WWE champion. And if there is any city where Obafemi could have been presented as a king, I said this online, the district was the place to do it. And Lord knows the presentation was great. The crowd was chanting Oba and all this, almost kind of very Goldberg. That's kind of chant, but chanting the way they're doing Oba, Oba. So I was like, okay. The vibes were there. The presentation was right. But in a theme that we're going to get back to later in the show, I don't like the finish they did with Drew McIntyre just coming in and that's it. No contest, no DQ or nothing. Just I want to ask Jamal real quick. Hit his win.
Let me ask Jamal something real quick, because I mean, I'm always really interested about your perspective about the transition from NXT to main roster. I think that might be the longest running theme on this show. I think that theme that conversation might be 3 years long. How did you feel about Obafemi against Cody Rhodes and the moment he made foot in Capital One Arena? Would you find the success and the testament of the transition and what was right, what was wrong, and ultimately where you see his trajectory? Because I think there's nothing to talk about here with Cody at all.
Cody has gotten in the way. Let's talk about it.
Literally.
Which is why it was interesting that it was supposed to be this NXT versus the main roster proving ground match. And, it's Oba versus Cody. Okay, fine. But unless Oba does something absolutely, unprecedented, I don't know how this elevates him. Like he's not the guy specifically in NXT that needs to prove anything. Because so the real question is, what is he auditioning for? And that was kind of like the weird thing. The match is fine. But as far as we need to get out there, and it would be like LeBron James going to Summer League. And you just go like, what is he here for? He doesn't need to be here now. He's done it all. Just show up on Raw or SmackDown, Oba. Whatever you want to do. We're already waiting for you. And that's, as far as like that transition, it has moved from will they fit to where will they land? Is there room for them at the top of on the roster? How will they move up and stuff like that? But as far as elevating, I'm not sure that was it. And then, of course, because all of it takes a back seat to Cena's last match anyway. So it's just like, an exhibition match. I'm not entirely sure if that's the actual platform to elevate him, because it's kind of like, well, we already saw this. We know what this looks like. And there are other guys, on the card that definitely took more of an advantage, or not necessarily took an advantage of, because they all got the same opportunity. They all got the same advantage, but they also, someone could have used that rub a lot more and was showcased, and it felt like they were showcased a lot better. But Oba didn't need this. Oba could have gone to Chick-fil-A right across the street from the arena, and it would have made the same damn bit of difference, because we already know what this is. He's good to go. Just let him run.
That is a take. That is a take if I ain't heard one. But I ain't saying I disagree. Hey, Will, real quick before Damien get in there. Translation. Will said if there was a better city for Oba to be presented in, Just say it, damn it, Will. It's Chocolate City, okay?
That's what I was going to
I'll
say.
let you all say it.
Just say it, damn it.
I will
That's what I
let
was
you
gonna
all
say.
take those words. There you go. I mean, it's the district. It is what
You
it
from
is.
the district, bro. You can say it's all good, but you're damn right. The Nigerians that was in that building, they already knew what it was, man. And I tell you, man, they were hot. I thought Javon Evans was going to get the most love. Outside of Cena, Ober was like 1B.
All day long, WTOP was running a piece on the event. And WTOP is the radio station that does news all day long here in DC, similar to 1010 Wins in New York. And they interviewed Obafemi. Out of all the people that they could have gotten for the piece, it was Oba over the phone, talking about you shall cower before me. You already know that Oba has arrived, and that's kind of just like, well, he's already got it. It's just go get it. Just go keep it moving. It should be Oba versus Gunther. Last two guys at the end of the Royal Rumble. I mean, just like we've already passed this point of trying to prove through whatever. Just let him go.
Yeah.
Do that right now.
Go for it,
Let's
Damian.
get Damien in here. We haven't heard from Damien yet.
So I thought it was mostly just an exercise to whet the appetite of the WWE audience who may not watch NXT. The casuals, like we mentioned earlier, that it seemed packed the place to drum up more business, as it were. But there is a good chunk historically of people that don't know NXT talent more often than not. So seeing him on this main stage, and even though he did show up at SmackDown prior, maybe it was where I was watching the event, but I felt as if maybe the audio just wasn't good enough, where I felt the audience might have been tepid, but I'm glad that the people who were there, no, they were loud. So that gave me a lot of hope for Oba's future on the main roster, as it were. My hottish take, I guess, is Cody's the wrong person for him to have gone up against. I thought it would have been a just horrible matchup because of the Drew situation. And I knew that's what was going to happen. We all wanted Cody to do the job, and obviously Drew got in the way. And it was a standardized paint by numbers match. Oba got to show his strength. Cody showed a little bit of resiliency, the whole punch the jaw thing, which whatever, fine. And it did enough to show the casuals, hey, by the way, tune into NXT on Tuesday if you want to see more of this guy. He's our champion. So to Jamal's point, yeah, put the rocket on the Royal Rumble and have him and Gunther go, one-on-one for the last two, Hogan Warrior style. But I'm just glad that the volume in the arena matched what I believe he deserved. So I'm glad that's a relief off my mind. But if I had to redo this match, it wouldn't have been Cody. If anything, maybe Punk, just because he likes working with younger talent, going back to AEW. So, and maybe just be thrown around a little bit more by Oba. It just felt like a very paint by numbers match overall.
That's fair. I think that's totally I think a lot of people's feeling on it is we could have had something a little more, but Lord knows the moment everyone saw the, Drew McIntyre's deal, everyone's like, well, you know what's going to happen here. And it's just you could have given us something different than the same old, predictable deal.
Yeah. It felt very,
it was the safe route. It was
no one's hurt in this situation. And of the benefit, Oba gets it. And just like Jamal said, that's why I fully agree. Oba could have stopped at the top of the ramp, and that would have been enough. I think anything he did in the ring, I think it's mute. Look good. That's not
sure
taking anything away from it. But I don't think anything he did in the ring ultimately set the ticker higher for what the presentation already gives, and the confidence coming down the ring. And I also think that, even the moment with Drew, I don't necessarily agree with the finish as well too. But again, I think he was a winner the moment he came out there, and they damn sure wow, being there in person,
they nailed the end.
Man, that view, because you was able to see it on the screen. Yeah, that sort of I don't know, did they use a drone or just a far camera from the thing, but like showing Cody in the ring and then showing how wide it is. I mean, he looked legitimately like a big deal. And I don't want to criticize fans in the sense of like, did people really know who he was or not? Doesn't matter. They did cheer one way or another. I think just to Damien's point, I now fear for the first time ever from the transition from NXT to the main roster, I do think programming is about to be an issue because, man, if you got Netflix, because everybody do, probably easy to find Raw there. But then you have to have SmackDown on another network, and then you have to have the CW on another. And I get that most people have CW because, I don't know, bunny ears, I think is still a thing. You cannot stream CW unless you have like Hulu or whatever. I think it's a logistical issue that will hurt the NXT roster when you can't necessarily go and find them to the same ease that you can find the other folks. So if you really are creating this synergy, if you really are creating the storytelling amongst both, I think the contracts is probably going to come in. The network contracts is probably going to come into play at some point because who did watch the NXT this week? And I know we did, but for the folks that went and watched John Cena's thing, they're going to SmackDown and Raw. They're not digging that deep for that. So I don't know, but yeah, good opening match.
Let's keep it moving. And by the way, Cupcake approves of Jamal's Obafemi impersonation there. Okay, if Oba didn't get the win to open the show, then our next match was our one match of the show with the NXT WWE theme where NXT got its shine. Sol Ruka gets to go over on Bayley in just over 9 minutes. A showcase for Sol Ruka, clean pin and everything. So that was the one. Okay, we're going to give NXT its shining moment. We're giving it to Sol Ruka. So lots of shaking heads here. Okay, Damien, get in here. Shaking your head about Sol Ruka. Well, why are you shaking your head for?
It's not so much Sol. It's the fact that Bayley, again, for whatever reason, is getting that short end of the stick.
Yeah, bro.
If she's not being left off of PLEs now, she's Natty 2.0, where she has to walk the newbies through matches.
Natty 2.0, man.
And to be fair, she has said that she wants to train the next generation of women's wrestlers. She just had that weekend, I guess that whole weekend summit for women's wrestlers at her own dime. But at the same time, it's okay. She's so giving, but y'all literally had her lose clean.
She has to win the Rumble this year. They have to throw her a bone. That's the only way I made good with everything. Yeah. They have to throw her a bone, and she has to win the Rumble this year. But go continue.
No, and that for me, that kind of, I'm not gonna say it killed the match, but just knowing the motions were going to happen, and of course we wanted to get the pop from the Soul Snatcher, and thank you, Bayley, for being in the right place to make it look legitimate, as sometimes the timing could be off. What was that?
I said what I say. I said this last week. Bayley is the best dance partner in the women's division in all of WWE. You put her with anybody, she's gonna look good. I think I said last week to Sellers. Like that's the same thing with Maxine in the Royal Rumble, where Maxine was having a hell of a time trying to get moves over, but Bayley was there to clean everything up. This is why I know this whole thing, like somebody's like deserving of something. Please throw Bayley a bone. Make this all make sense at some point. I'm gonna lose my mind. But go ahead, David.
Yeah, like I would have preferred. Speaking of not liking endings, I would have preferred maybe, I don't know, grabbing the tights or some sort of like turn with either Zarya or Bird Lady, to quote Will, Lyra, but just for her to lose clean just didn't leave me with a good taste. Like the match was okay. It was passable. Probably could have been a little better considering, all the oomph we give Sol Ruka, but anything more for Bayley. Come on, man. Be fair to Bayley. That just wasn't. It's nice that they trust her to walk the new generation through things, but not her, not in this situation.
All right, Brad, you shaking your head too on this one?
They're treating Bayley like she's Shador Sanders right now. Like,
oh man. Go on.
And I'm actually I'm quite sick of it.
My attention, sir.
I'm quite sick of it because you say Natty 2.0, and that's not necessarily the dish that you think it is. You know, Natty's obviously more qualified, and Natty obviously deserves more as far as what she's given. But I'm sick of Bailey just being happy to be there. It's like, damn, out of all of them, Charlotte's come back and she's had a character change and that's going as well as it's going. Monet is gone, so there's nothing else there. Becky Lynch is doing her own thing, and she's had a character change, and then Bailey's just happy to be there. And it's like, out of all of the 4 horsewomen, now 3, why? Like, why?
Mhm.
Like, why is Bailey seemingly, unless I'm missing something, but seemingly stuck in this just vortex of mid-card vortex of despair? And it just doesn't make sense, because we all know that she's a hell of a lot more everything that they're giving her right now. And that doesn't mean, she needs, 15 belts, not at all. Somebody's running that gimmick already, but we just need more than what she's getting. What she's getting is nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that's gonna be something to look at in 2026.
Yeah, it is.
As we be talking about, next week we'll be talking about looking forward. So Bailey, I think, might have to be a topic specific.
Can I get my hot take real quick?
Your hot take real quick.
I bumped over to Evan Matt. Yeah, I know Evan, Big Evan, and Evan T Matt, and I said, and he fully agreed, and I really feel like doubling down on this right now. I know this was a showcase of talent coming out of NXT and whatever. I honestly don't think Soruka is ready as people think she is.
No, I'm with you. It's not a hot take. I'm with you.
Overhyped in terms of main roster readiness. And I will also say, in terms of doubling down, it wasn't just that long ago we watched the Iron Survivor match where she had a, I don't know, pseudo injury or a longing issue in terms of why she didn't go over clean on Bailey.
Uh-huh.
So again, is it the viewing issue, or people's like, well, maybe everybody's not watching that to see the storyline that's going from there to there. I literally thought they were going to make her look good, but wouldn't go over because they will play into the leg injury thing that she's been.
This was very much a show where like these matches were just like exhibitions for this night that had no bearing on anything else going on. It was kind of it was a showcase. It's what it was.
But to that point, you're right, 2 Chainz. You're right, because weeks ago we didn't have her drop the title to Blake at first because of an injury, and not even 3 weeks later, I can go toe to toe with Bailey for 9 minutes, and I'm good. Like, come on, man. Come on.
All right, let's wrap up this undercard so we can get to the second half before we go to our break here. So, last but not least, the tag team match that was on the undercard: AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus Javon Evans and Leon Slater. This was only 6.5 minutes, but it was 6.5 minutes of nonstop damn action. This was the closest thing to like a party match that you would see in WWE, with just like moves, hot action, and just the crowd definitely was into it. And I think it was a smart placement to put this before all the pomp and circumstance of the Cena Gunther match, to be like, okay, here's like your fireworks and special effects and everything. Yes. And then we're going to slow it down for the big moment that we're all here for. But I thought Javon and Leon Slater, they looked right at home there in Capital One Arena, was my biggest takeaway.
Yeah. So to the same point I talked about Soruka. So Leon Slater in that spot with AJ Styles, where it looked like he was trying to strap on the Styles Clash, and it looked a little wonky. Watch that. I don't know if it's a clip out there, but watch that minute and 30-second sequence between the two of them, and that tells you all you need to know about the two of them being ready, because it wasn't just about them hitting their spots. It was about ring IQ. It was about how poised they were. It was about having to pivot from a spot that wasn't executed and still making it polished. This may be a super hot take here, but I have not seen, and y'all should already know where I'm going with this. I have not seen this measure of ring IQ in the ring since FTR, the revival, From what I'm seeing with Leon Slater and Javon Evans, they are ready. They are ready. And what's really special about them is that they have good tag team IQ and they have good singles wrestler IQ. Oh, the future's looking bright with them.
All right. Any other thoughts on those two before we go to break?
No, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I agree.
It was exciting. It did what it needed to do, and it was action personified. So I was happy.
Yeah, good showing for Javon and Leon. Leon Slater, Berkeley, he may be the TNA X Division champion now, but it's clear he's in the pipeline. We know where he's going to end it eventually. It may be next year or what, but the pipeline is clear now about how these things work with these TNA deals. But once again, we're just like TNA X Division champion on the John Cena retirement show. Just a different world we're living in sometimes in this modern wrestling. All right. We are going to our mid-show break. We will be back right after that. And then, folks, it's time to talk John Cena's retirement. We're going to get into all of it, the finish, how they handled it, the presentation, all that good stuff, how things went down in Capital One Arena. Najir will let us know about that. So, folks, get ready. Stay with us. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast will be back right after this.
Looking to get your brand in front of people who eat, sleep, and breathe entertainment? Big Gold Belt Media is the place to be. We're all about reporting on movies, TV shows, conventions, and everything in between. And we want your brand to be a part of the action. Partnering with us means your sponsorships get featured right in the midst of our content. Plus, we're going to hype you up on all of our social media, connecting you with an audience that loves discovering new things from trusted voices in entertainment. We're easy to find. Just look for us on Big Gold Belt on all your social media platforms. Don't wait, reach out today, and let's start building something amazing together. Your spotlight is waiting here at Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com.
Thank you for being with us here tonight, folks, on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast, streaming Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern, as we close out 2025 and head into 2026. As I said at the top of the show, we've been talking about this story all darn year, so now it's finally here. The reason this whole show happened, John Cena's retirement match, the last time is now. So we had the tournament, we had Gunther set up as the opponent. I thought they did a hell of a job with this match as far as like, they made this into a moment. It may have just been a Saturday night's main event, but once it was time for this match, they hit the vibe right. They had long darn intro for Gunther. They had Cena get his big moment coming out there. The whole segment did not feel rushed at all. And I think was kind of my big concern going in, coming off the Saturday night's main event, Goldberg retirement, which just felt, oh my God, we got to get this done by 10 o'clock. And they were rushing to get that shit off the air. And this was the clear, okay, no, they're going as long as they want. We're going to go past 10 o'clock. It's going to go almost at 10:30. They had time to breathe, time to relax, and I thought that was very important. That was my biggest concern going into this, that it would be another rush job. It absolutely wasn't a rush job. They got 23 minutes, almost went a full 24. And I guess let's just get to it. We have John Cena in his final match. Of course, Gunther, we know he grinds people down. He wears them out, and he hooks on the submissions, and he made it clear that he wanted to beat John Cena and make him give up. He wanted to make the guy whose whole thing was never give up his whole career. He wanted to make him give up. And lo and behold, that's what they did. To the shock of people in the arena, Cena holds on as long as he can. He gets a weird smile on his face and does little, very soft little tap out as he smiles at the camera. And we kind of had an Undertaker, losing the streak moment. But they immediately cut to the crowd, and people were in shock. And I guess that leads to, let's just go to this question right off the bat. Was John Cena losing the right move in his retirement match? Because my feeling in that moment was just like, God damn it. The guy's whole thing was never give up. He sold t-shirts for years, would never give up. That was his whole thing. And no, he's not, never submitted before. It's not like that. But in his final match, I wouldn't have had the guy tap out. And I've seen the illusions this week. He's posting stuff of, Obi-Wan when Darth Vader takes him out in Star Wars, where it's like, okay, like my time is up. But I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like the finish. I liked the match. I didn't like the finish. Who wants to go first on this? Was it the right move? How they pulled the trigger on Cena's send off?
Let the boss go because he was there.
Nah, I talked the most already. So somebody else go.
So I'll make it quick. You could argue. I could argue for both of them, and I'm not going to do that. Was it the right move for him to tap out? In the moment, it is easy to say absolutely not. There is no way in the blue hell do you have the last image, the last moment, his last everything in the ring be, check, please. I'm ready to go now. That's feebly, just go out there and give it up. And I think once I had a couple of moments, couple of hours, couple of days to process it, in the story of the match itself, from end to end, it was actually a pretty poetic and fitting in, not necessarily to just never give up. That's insane. At some point, somebody made a song about it. You got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to turn them. Well, yeah, all of that. And
know when to walk away.
Yeah, all of that. And I think that's where that smile came from. He wasn't like suffering from a hypoxia. He was like, this is it. I'm good with this. And it's almost like, a death in the family where, that person who, no matter who it is, it's their journey, not yours, not anybody else's in the building. It was John Cena's journey. It was his match. And at a certain point, I threw it all. Damn near 50 years old, been doing it for 20-something years. Gunther's big Austrian arms around his carotid artery. And he goes, this is the moment where I know it's time to go. And I think that there's something noble about that. There is something noble about being walked out of the front door instead of being thrown out the back with the trash. And I can respect that. I can respect the ability to go into it. And because the match doesn't mean anything, he doesn't have to have it. It actually is a far cry from what I thought should have happened. Him retiring with the belt, with a belt, unifying the world championship or something like that. Given the rub, since we were talking about the NXT angle of it, really should have given the rub to an up-and-coming. John Cena versus Obafemi would have been magical. But that's not what we got. We got Gunther. And the only reason why I have a problem with Gunther himself, and that's a different question, and we'll cover it, but the reason why I have a problem with Gunther himself is because Gunther is Bailey. They're going to Bailey that man. He's going to be hot for 5 minutes, and then they're going to do some bullshit and have him lose a belt. He's going to lose to Rollins again. He's going to lose to Drew McIntyre again. Then he's going to bubble under the top of the card. They're going to Bailey that man because he's going to rock this. I'm the guy that retired John Cena. No, it was for John Cena's retirement match. It was going to happen regardless. Well, I beat him. You were supposed to. That's what the point is. That's what the wrestling is for.
All right,
and then now, go ahead, Will.
I'll work Kevin in here on YouTube. Wrestling fans paid a lot of money to see a happy ending. Remember, the ticket prices were ridiculous. And Lord knows I was thinking that when that finish happened. I was like, man, some of these folks shelled out some money to be at this show. And they get the John Cena Obi-Wan moment with the smile.
Listen, this ain't Infinity War. We're not coming back for part 2. This was it.
This was it.
Real quick. What wrestling fans bought was the ability to sit their dumb asses in the building to see John Cena's last match, and that's what they got. What wrestling fans actually did was book themselves into a corner and then decide to play 2K26 all the way down 7th Street, and then they get to 7th and G just off the train and go, yep, this is exactly what I see. It's all coming to fruition. Wait a minute, he lost. Who booked this crap? And then they're going to write a fucking YouTube blog about it. That's not how the story goes. I'm not saying that Cena should have lost. I would like to have seen. I literally wanted him to win, walk out with a championship, but I understand why he lost, because sometimes it's not about giving up; it's about letting go.
And that's what John said.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
Go ahead, Damien. Go ahead.
So we're all Golden Age wrestling fans. That's where we kind of got in on this ride. Yes, I know. So I understand the mechanism of going out on your back. We know that. We've heard it for years. The reason why I would have preferred Cena go over is because we were spoiled by Sting's retirement, where he won
a lot of people comparing
in
that.
his last match. So it gave me, specifically me, hope at this damn sports bar where all of us united against Gunther for 5 minutes. And just that gave me hope that it would have ended a different way. Now, Cena's gone on to CVV and talk about, hey, it ended the way I wanted it to. That was the smile, the letting go, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
What I compared this to on a really weird level was when Optimus Prime dies in the first animated Transformers movie, and all the Autobots get destroyed in the first 5 minutes by the Decepticons, and every single child, myself included, is bawling, is yelling, is screaming, and is talking about trauma 30 years later. I'm
Suck
thinking
the air
of
out of the room.
Kids that were in that stadium, that arena, who had their Optimus Prime moment where their never give up hero, especially the kids who battling terminal illnesses, saw their hero give up. And I brought this up to someone. I said, this is bigger than wrestling. This is a lifetime thing, because the amount of wishes he's granted, the amount of lives he's touched, and for people who don't get it, i.e. little kids, they saw their Optimus Prime die. And who knows how adversely affected that's going to be for some of these kids. Now, the wrestling fans I can't speak for. You know, some people hate it, some love it. Will, you and I talked about this in the group chat, where it could have been anything else. You could have had him pinned. Fine. He could have passed out.
Right. If you do that instead, Gunther still wins.
Do
but
the
he
passes
out instead of doing the tap. So he technically never gave up.
I thought that happened at one point.
Palatable.
From my view, I literally thought that's what happened.
So that's the route I would have taken, and that's why I feel this was bigger than wrestling. This was kind of just like a pop culture icon, and it affected more than wrestling fans. So I think that's for me the main reason they should have changed the way he lost.
And this brings up something that I thought this too that night. Kevin's bringing it up. Kevin's on YouTube's got some points tonight. Triple H was the biggest heel that night, and Lord knows the moment that man came out after the match and they bring the whole roster out to do like their send-off, people were on Triple H's shit like anything. And that's part of the issue to me, is because in this modern wrestling, you know, people's like, oh, well, the heat's going on Gunther. And yeah, Gunther had good heat on Raw on Monday, but people are too savvy now. And instead of getting mad at Gunther, they're mad at the company. They're mad at Triple H because we didn't get what we want. And that's the problem, is you're getting the heat on the wrong damn person.
Yeah.
Everyone's mad at Triple H. People are yelling at him at the post show out on the street there and everything. And it's like, you know, the old school folks say, oh no, Gunther's got all the heat now. And it's like, yeah, all these people that think they know better, they're mad at Triple H. They're not mad at Gunther. They're mad at the guy running the show. So I don't know, 2 James, you were there. You were there in the building. So give me the in the building perspective at Capital One, how this went down.
This is gonna sound like the craziest thing ever. Hey, the heat that Triple H got when he was coming out, at one point, I was looking down because I was sitting in the press box. I was like, is Trump walking out? Because I've been wondering what
people were waiting for it.
Donnie, I was waiting for. I was like, where's Donnie T at? I know he's in here, which I know that's a whole nother story. Also, did y'all hear about Gunther being followed by a crowd
down the street?
Accosted by fans.
That.
Well, for whatever reason, they decided to take him out the media entrance on 6th Street, and he's walking down towards the old Burger King near the why? Like,
Why
wow.
did he have
what's
his
fun-
car
you-
brought to
do,
him? I
do
mean,
you know what's
jeez.
funny? Do you know what's funny? AJ Styles almost did the same thing and he turned around because I was walking that direction as well.
Because
And
that's the side that the parking garage is on.
yes, and AJ was
So
coming up
any-
the parking ramp, and then AJ just busted you, and everybody was like, "Oh," I was like,
He read the
"Man,
room.
yeah,
Yeah. Because
Um,
like, anybody that's been to that building, and that building's 30-something years old now, that's where you line up because that's where the talent comes out. That's where the players' garage is on side of the street, and he had to have like 5 MPD officers and WWE security walk him down 6th Street towards the Canadian Embassy. And I'm like, number one, why the hell is anything that far away from him? And number two, why isn't he just in a car? Like it doesn't or
I
shuttle
don't
bus or
know
something.
what that was about."
Oh, well, I mean,
definitely, yeah,
yeah, that makes sense.
But I will say to Will's point, I called you out on this 2 weeks ago, Will. I said you could. Yeah, this is how you know Will has kids because absolutely from the perspective of when you really think about where it matters the most, it is the focus of how the kids to send them home because in a way it feels very pandery because we live in a social media era now where reactions mean so much. It's actually the reaction thing and the influencer aspect of it plays heavy dividends in all the entertainment. Like I thought, just quick sidebar, there's the whole thing about the Avengers trailer right now, right? And they're like, oh, we're only showing it in theaters, but there's already been theaters with like production videos of the crowd reacting to that trailer. It's just like, so like y'all are like baiting people for these moments. It's the same thing with Cena. The moment that bell rung, those cameras were pointed out at the crowd, and you saw kid there, kid or adult, whatever. But it's just like, do y'all feel those moments are bigger than actually letting people go out with happiness and cheer and excitement and probably want to buy more merch because when you're happy, or you might want to extra some food, some drink, or whatever. And so people were
celebration vibe as opposed to sucking the air out of the room.
I tell you who don't make that mistake: Las Vegas. Now, if you're in the pro boxing, Canelo's not losing on Cinco de Mayo. It's just not a thing because they know what the vibe is. He does fights on two days: Cinco de Mayo and Mexican Independence. And as good as he is, Vegas is going to ensure that everything that they got booked post that fight has a Canelo appearance, or they have the attention of the audience to go to it because their guy won. I think it was just one of those things where like I felt Cena was bigger than the business, and I know that he would have wanted to do it, but like make the right call. It's bigger than the business here. You just do. You just do the thing that's going to make the people who spent the money, that could probably spend more money, more interested in that celebratory aspect than to be pissed off and ready to just get out of there because people were hot telling it out of there. People were not waiting around for anything else. Triple H was getting booed. They ran outside to boo him some more. They walked Gunther down. It didn't have to be that way. And in fact, if we thought that Gunther needed the rub, didn't Gunther just lose earlier this year by tapping out, which he also was reminded of?
And CM Punk. That's the they've established this year that he can be beaten. He's no longer the indestructible, guy who's like been champion, for months and months and months on a huge streak. It's like this year has been about Gunther losing matches. So that's the thing for me. It's like I didn't see what Gunther was going to gain from this. And it's not a situation where, Cena needs to do the right thing on the way out. He ain't going to another company.
Exactly.
This isn't Bret Hart going to WCW. It's like he's retiring. He's still in the fold. You're still going to have him on shows. He's still going to be around. So give folks the happy ending so they can be like, high-fiving each other and just like, oh my God, it was really cool. We had to see John Cena retire and go out on top.
Now that's part of the problem though. Like everybody's talking about how Cena's retiring and it's a match and stuff like that. But then they'll in the same breath say it better be this way or else. I mean,
I saw it both ways.
Where does the level of integrity begin and end? Because if we're talking about the match itself, it is a match. We're supposed to suspend some disbelief that they had a whole goddamn tournament, and Gunther, won it, the tournament, in order to be here today. And then people just go, yeah, I know they did that, but fuck that, because my feelings say that they should have this. And I can understand it to a certain point, but we're not talking about actual 8-year-olds on TikTok going, like, oh my God, I had to write a 3rd grade, essay about why Cena's losing means something to me. No, we're talking about 42-year-old man,
Cupcake ain't playing. Cupcake says the kids can cry.
Exactly.
It ain't too bad. That's life.
No, yeah. When I was a kid, it's life, and we grew up in the era of dead wrestlers on Monday, just to be completely morbid about it. Whether it was a guy that you knew or a guy that you didn't know, I can't think of how many wrestlers that I loved that when I called the hotline, because that's what you did back in the days, kids. You called the hotline and somebody told you that this person was found dead in their hotel room, age 32, from complications of whatever drug that you can't pronounce or arrhythmia. So I don't miss me with this bullshit about how Cena had to do this for his retirement, or Gunther should have done this for his retirement. Because realistically, Gunther wasn't the right opponent to begin with.
I literally about to just say that. Like, right. Gunther's 10 years younger than Cena, so it's not an age thing. He probably has, I don't know, he has significant amount of history together. Yeah, there's no storytelling in that. I mean, I agree. Oba Femi should have been it, and you know what? And Cody should have ran with Ricky. That should have been the 2 people to get caught up in that moment, make it both work. The future
Cody
of NXT,
have future of
100%.
Oba's the hot guy right now. It could have been a bunch of other people, but Oba's the hot guy right now. And that's the thing. If Oba beats Cena, legit, whatever it is, you can still go, all right, I respect it.
Hell yeah.
They're making a new guy. You're making it.
Right. But it wasn't even the fact that Gunther beat Cena. Cena just went 3, 2, and bump card 4.
I'm ready to go home. Just like
I also told Sellers this last week that I said if Cena loses, I don't see Cena going out in a way that doesn't feel very theatrical. I feel like he can't really shake off, that measure of character in which he is. I never thought he was going to sell it to look like it was going to be legitimate, which is why I said if Gunther wins, he literally has to catch a body in the ring. It has to be all him, going way to the extent of what we've seen him many other times. I mean, I'm talking about like the Dragunov match. He needs to, if we know Cena's not selling it, which he didn't, and which is why everybody's talking about it, it needed to be sold on Gunther's end that he caught a body, even to the point that even us didn't believe that would be his last match, because he did him so bad that somehow, some way, Cena is going to have to do it for all of us, all the Make-A-Wish kids, and come back and do it one more time. But this definitely felt like the Luke Skywalker after he projected in the Last Jedi. We're just like, what? What are we talking about here? The strongest Jedi? This was just kind of like, I'm just gonna astro projection there. That's really cool. We're like, yeah. And then he's like, you know what? I think that's it. I'll just roll over now. It's like, what?
Call it a day.
And the funny thing is the minute Gunther was picked, a lot of people just weren't happy that he was the guy. But if you go back to him retiring Goldberg and now he's retiring Cena, and on Monday now he's thinking about AJ. Mm-hmm. So is that the thing?
This is his new gimmick. He's the retirement guy.
Yeah, it's not legend killer. It's retirer guy.
Yeah.
All right, but still better ways to have gone about it. And if he doesn't retire Goldberg, I don't think he's the guy to have gotten picked for Cena either, because like you said, there was no history. It's just 2 dudes. That's it.
Yo, has Goldberg said anything on social media?
I haven't checked.
I'd have to look.
I'd be listening. I'd be interested in hearing a bite.
I mean, Cena definitely got the send off that Goldberg wishes he got. As far as I think, like I said, they gave him all the time they wanted and all this. But I think that was what we understood from the beginning. John Cena's their creation. Goldberg never was.
Goldberg would
WCW guys always going to get shorted in WWE. It is what it is.
Yeah. He wouldn't have been happy. Goldberg would have wanted to squash him. Let's just be honest here.
Right.
Goldberg got to be Goldberg. Yep. So
All right, so we got 5 minutes. I know we talked to him on that,
Yes.
so I want to throw right to Jamal now. So who's next? Who is next in line that deserves a measure of send off to this caliber? Rather more or still within the same sort of stratosphere of things?
The long and short of it, nobody. There isn't anybody on the roster right now that will get this level of send off. The only person that will come close that deserves it is The Miz, and he'll never get that.
I literally said that, man. I literally said that.
I mean, if it were a meritocracy, The Miz would still be going through. We would have flags lower half staff for what The Miz has done. Because think of the criteria: lifelong company guy, never went anywhere else, never wavered, multi-time champion, unprecedented headline and mess WrestleMania, merch, catchphrases, blah blah blah, cultural impact, bullshit, Miz, and he'll never get that, and that's a goddamn shame.
Everything he got on that promo to say in that ring, very true.
Right,
100% true.
The only person that will come close to this in this moment that's currently involved in the business is Roman Reigns. And unfortunately, he doesn't deserve it because he spent half of his career trying to catch up to what he thinks he is right now.
Ooh.
So no Randy Orton.
I don't think really quickly, Roman, I don't think his character will want it. I don't see him wanting a tour. I can see him saying, I'm hanging it up, and we just know in that moment. I cannot see him wanting, the red carpet rolled out from him. It just doesn't fit the character.
For most people, it's just going to be straight to the Hall of Fame or something like that.
Yeah.
Featured Hall of the main Hall of Fame main event induction type deal.
Yeah.
Kevin's throwing out Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, or R-Truth. Orton is I'm with Damian on Orton because Orton's another one of their creations. So Orton will get a big send off, but I think it also comes down to what does he want his send off to be? Because Cena was saying this week in the interviews he was willing to do a hell of a lot more and do like a whole 200 dates, and they were like, oh no, we don't need all that. We're only talking like 40 shows for the whole year. So yeah, I think part of it comes down to how much of a commitment people are looking to make.
I don't think Orton's has been relevant enough in the past maybe 5 years compared to Cena on the backsides of their career to say, oh yeah, let's do this while we still can. Do we want a year-long Randy Orton run? Is anybody asking for that in 2026?
Only if he wins the championship a couple of times and he starts to get in that GOAT conversation because he can pass 17. Because what is Randy, 15?
I want to say
14?
Something like that.
He's close.
He's right around
He's close.
Yeah, the next two people is him and Triple H.
Yeah.
So Damian, for you, anybody in the women's division you can see this for?
Oh man.
Kelly.
Come on now, this is a Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast. We know there is only person worthy of this, and that is Miss Eva Marie.
Oh no, but no. To quickly answer, I can see them trying to roll it out for Charlotte, but that won't
not.
That won't have the gravitas. Trish, when she finally says "I'm good," maybe, but that's about it.
But okay, but there's a Goldberg had a retirement match. That's one thing. Brock Lesnar will have a retirement match. Okay, that's one thing. But we're talking about a 6-month multi-pay-per-view, investment where hey, 2 weeks before New Year's, I'm done, and that's going to be it. Giving you your own show and your own platform, farewell tour type of a thing. I just don't see that retirement match. Sure, crazy. Jericho's coming, so who knows? Want
to retire him too. It's fine.
I mean, I'm just saying that very well could happen. Should R-Truth get his props on his way out? Sure, but we're not talking about just, hey, I'm going to just leave it in the ring like Triple H did a couple years ago for no reason. But Ray Jr. deserves it. Yeah, obviously the Miz, but I just don't see it being of this scale for anybody. Possibly Roman, but he doesn't live up to that billing. Should be the Miz, but they don't respect him. And otherwise, not really. Nobody's really had 20-something years. And that's what we're talking about. Who had a 20-year run in WWE?
It's got to be. This is a generational person.
Right.
Right.
And it transcends wrestling into, quote unquote, the real world. So
Yeah.
Right. Because
And
Orton's
everything
not a movie
Cena's been
star.
doing outside of wrestling. Yeah, that's the other.
Yeah, Orton's not a movie star. R-Truth, honestly, R-Truth has been in some movies, but maybe Trey Songz is available. I don't know, but I can't see it. Something happening to this level, and I'm not even talking about a year. I don't see anybody going on a 6-month retirement run where we would go, all right, let's dedicate half of 2027 to this.
Right. Because I know AJ is supposed to retire next year, but he's not going to come close to the level of what Cena got, obviously. So
No.
AJ will get a nice send off. He'll get his Hall of Fame ring and all that, but it ain't going to be like this. This is a once in a generation thing.
Correct.
Yeah, and honestly too, like retirements don't have to be ran through WWE. Like if Rey Mysterio, whenever he's ready, I need Rey Mysterio to hit AAA. I need him to hit Pro Wrestling Noah. I need him to just go everywhere. If you're gonna do a retirement tour, hit all the stomping grounds, make your presence, and really, elevate the level of legend and icon that you are. So don't do a whole little storyline to WWE. I feel like that's kind of diminishing some people who are kind of bigger than that. And Rey Mysterio is one of those people. Hell, R-Truth, one more time in NWA, make it happen. Actually is a really good fit right now for him. And then AJ,
I'd love to see R-Truth in our title run.
And then AJ, you already know what you got to do. you did Noah, New Japan, if they can make it happen, and definitely TNA. So
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap this thing up. So next week is going to be, I guess it's going to be different because Lauren knows we are not going to have a show live next Thursday night on Christmas night. So how are we going to? Are we going to release it? When are we gonna? I guess we'll do it early in the week,
this is what we'll stay tuned on the social medias. Y'all find us. We will go live, not on our regular day, to wrap up the end of the year, and projections and some other news for the Big Old Belt Wrestling Podcast. So I think the best way is we're going to talk internally to kind of see what day works best, and just stay tuned to the socials. And once we know, we'll schedule it live. You'll see it pop up on YouTube, which is
a good reason to subscribe.
There you go. Got everything you need.
Hit that subscribe,
right there.
hit that notification buttons to be notified. Like I say each and every week, all that good stuff. So I'll skip the time stuff. Let me hit all the socials here and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So whether you're watching on X, whether you're watching on Twitch, whether you're watching on YouTube tonight, all that good stuff, you can find us on all those things. Of course, the feed lives on YouTube. So if you don't catch us live, the video's there, the audio's there on the YouTube channel. On social media, you can find us at Big Gold Belt across the board. So whether we're talking Instagram, X, Blue Sky, Threads, you name it, at Big Gold Belt is where you can find us. So plenty of ways to get those notifications of when we will go live next week for the holiday spectacular before the holidays, as we talk about the year in review and a look forward into 2026. Let's see, we did the social medias. Oh, of course, on the web. Cannot forget about on the web at biggoldbelt.com is where you can find us on the web. Wrestling, movies, comics, and more. The home of Big Gold Belt Media. Let's see, I got a couple. Cupcake's asking, Najir, is your Force review live tonight?
It is. No, it's not. It is not. It is. It will be available after the episode airs. So we're only going live for the finale for that.
Okay, so coming later tonight on the channel once things happen. All right, so as we go into the holiday weekend, as we head into the holidays and New Year's and all that good stuff, what entertainment stuff should we be on the lookout for that's not pro wrestling? Because all the pro wrestling companies are going all taping their stuff this week. So wrestling ain't a priority for the next week.
Yeah, I got a full written review for the whole John Cena experience, so you can check that out with pictures, videos, all that other good stuff. Entertainment wise, Fallout season 2 is here.
Yes, premiered this week.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. No, not that. Something else very excited for that's coming out in February. I watched today. Really good. Monsters and stuff, I think that's it. Wait. Oh, Avatar, bunch of Avatar content, and I feel like there's something else. Anaconda can't.
That's Christmas.
Yeah, so that reaction is available right now, but the review is coming next week. So yeah. Only thing right now available for you. Check out the Cena stuff and Fallout and Avatar, Fire and Ash.
Jamal, Damien, anything you want to add?
Yeah.
Nope, boss man took it.
The other big movies this week, of course, is a SpongeBob movie for the kids. Avatar is in IMAX and IMAX 3D everywhere.
So SpongeBob.
Avatar is killing it in IMAX right now. So
yeah. I just mean like SpongeBob in 3D is was not on my bingo card, but yeah.
But that is the thing that's in 3D as well. If you want to see neither of those, Sydney Sweeney and Amanda Seyfried are the housemaid. So sure. That's the thing that's happening.
It's good.
I hear it's not bad. And the only other movie is David. The story David and Goliath. That's the thing that's happening this week, and of course, the rest of the stuff comes out Christmas. I do know on the Netflix there's a Korean movie called The Great Flood. Looks very interesting. But that's premiering on Netflix tomorrow, and that's about it. And of course, college. Everything. College football is in its playoff mode, and Christmas is coming up next Thursday, so there's a lot of stuff happening there. So. It's a lot. It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There you go, folks. Big Gold Belt Media, wrestling, movies, comics, and more. We will be back next week with the year in review and a look ahead to 2026 as we close out our year and some important updates in that episode of the changing face of Big Gold Belt Media as we're going to be switching things up in 2026.
Big gold suspenders.
No more belt. So you'll have to tune in next week, folks. Like we said, hit those notifications, hit that subscribe button, all that good stuff. We'll talk to you next week. And until then, check out some movies, check out some wrestling, check out the John Cena coverage on the site, and we will talk to you later.
All I really need, that big old belt.